Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Women Like Me Stories in Business. I'm your host, Julie Fairhurst, and today I'm here with a reoccurring guest, my friend, Frank Talber. Now, Frank's an interesting fellow. I'm going to tell you a little bit about him before we dive into some questions for him. So, he doesn't just write novels, he hijacks your nervous system and refuses to give it back until you've hit the last page. He writes fiction the way a rock star plays to crowds. Loud emotions, unforgettable scenes, and stories that grab you by the collar and say, "You're coming with me." His readers don't skim, they miss sleep. They forget the water's gone cold. They swear at him lovingly and buy more books anyway. So if you've ever wanted to escape your world for a few hours and come back changed, you were in the right place. So, Frank, thank you for being here again. I'm looking
You're
forward to
so
chatting with
welcome.
you.
You're so welcome. So would I be the first guy for the second time or the
You're the
first
first
person
guy
for the
for the
second
second time. That's right. You've got some honors there. Anytime.
time?
Anytime at
Love
all.
it. Love
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Yeah.
So let's get started here. So I want to just sort of maybe ask a few questions about
Yep.
before we get into what you're doing with your books these days. I know you've got some
Yep.
exciting things happening, but let's just dive into a little bit about the book writing and about the emotions and stuff. So hopefully, any of our listeners or YouTube watchers that are interested in possibly writing or they are writing
Yep.
can maybe get a few tips for them. So when you sit down to write,
Yep.
what reaction are you secretly hoping for from the reader?
Well, obviously to engage them, particularly right off the bat, I usually try to engage the reader in a short story or in a novel within the first page. And I've had reviews where people have said, this one lady, she bought a book, came back with her friend, and I said, "Why are you back?" She goes, "Well, my friend opened your book. She read 3 pages, says, 'Stop, go back. I got to buy this book.' I hooked her that fast." So,
Yeah.
and I usually try to weave in like all the senses for one thing. If you can make them taste, touch, smell, hear that scene, you've pretty well got them. And then on top of all that, even though some of the subjects of some of my books can be dark, I tend to weave in a lot of humor. And I have, like hilarious characters that you wouldn't think would be in this dark, deep situation that pull off the craziest stuff. And that's probably how I hook people. It's what I love
Yeah.
to do, you know?
Yeah. Well, it's like when you think about some movies, there's some dark movies out there that have an edge of humor to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like those the superhero ones with what's his name? The Canadian guy. I can't even think of his
Oh,
name
yes,
now.
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
His dad,
And
Sutherland, Keither.
yeah. Yeah. And the other ones with the guy from Vancouver, they just bought the Wrexham Football Club. I can't think of his name.
Oh,
This with the superheroes.
yeah.
There's a superhero. This guy's off the wall, bizarre sense of humor.
Yeah.
So, he's in the middle of danger and maybe dying and taking out lives if he has to, but yet he does funny things. And that's what's hooking people a lot of the time,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. And the hooks are so important.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, if you can't get their attention, we call it a hook, but really it's an attention getter. And if you can't get their attention, then they're, like you say, with that lady that walked away, her friend looked at the book. Obviously, there was an attention getter there for her, a
Yep.
hook, which brought her back to purchase a book.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And that's what we need. Yeah.
Absolutely correct.
So, what do you consciously do on the page to make escape inevitable? Because certainly when we're reading books, we're escaping. Just like if we're watching a movie or something, we're escaping
Yeah.
into that. So, what do you consciously do to make people or help people escape into your stories?
Well, in many situations, I do a lot of research and I make sure that if I put you on a street corner in Victoria or Vancouver, that corner, that building, everything's there. And I've had people that open one of my books and actually this guy sent me he talked to me live and he said the book was set in Haida Gwaii and he goes, so that street corner, that pub, the second floor of that pub is exactly how you place it. How much time have you spent there? And I said, well, actually, I haven't gone out there yet. I'm going up there in a couple of years to do the research. He goes, holy cow. He says, I can visualize everything because I live there. I know exactly how it's laid out. So I take great detail. If I'm putting in a real situation, like I mean, if it's an artificial science fiction world, that's different. But if I'm putting you in a real situation, I make sure everything around you is there. The opening scene in one of my other novels, The Lure, opens in Stanley Park. And many people have said to me, because I also pull all the senses in there, they go, "Wow, I've been on that where that place is, and I can see that whole scene unfolding all around me." And or I've gone there just to see your after and go, "Wow, this is exactly how I visualized it." You
Yeah.
know,
Wow. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Wow. Yeah, I can see that for sure. Okay. So why do you believe entertaining the reader is serious? Uh serious information, even serious information is a form of service.
it is. It is. Sometimes I know only not want to entertain the reader. Sometimes I want to enhance their knowledge of either spiritual matters in some cases. The all the research I've done in ghosts and the paranormal, sometimes give more information about that. Even reincarnation. I've done lots of research on reincarnation, and a lot of people don't believe in it. But with some of the things I've learned about reincarnation, you can't make this stuff up. You know. Okay, I'll give you a perfect example. This
Sure.
guy, in 1965, 65 or 62 in England, this kid was brilliant, but he wouldn't talk. And the teacher said, "Well, he's running into problems because he doesn't talk. You ask questions, he doesn't say anything." So they got him, told his parents, they got him to a hypnotherapist, and they found out that he said he was an American Air Force pilot from the Second World War that crashed and was taken into concentration camps and died there. And he said to them, "The only thing I'm allowed to tell you is name, rank, serial number, period." So at that time, yeah, and that was what they were instructed to do. So at that time they didn't have internet or anything like that. So they wrote a letter to the American government, the military, and they said, "We have this information about this." And they said, "Yes, this guy died in the Second World War. And that's his name, rank, and serial number, and he died in the concentration camps. As far as we know, we have no record of him." So
Wow.
that's one of the craziest it's seen things of reincarnation that I've read. I've read lots of other ones, but that was the
Yes.
wildest one.
That is wild. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. I've read lots of stuff on reincarnation
yeah,
too. Yeah. But I haven't heard that one. That's incredible. And I always think, when it's like, not to say that adults are, elaborating on their stories, but
yeah.
when you hear it from a child,
Yes, lots of kids have stories of reincarnations. Or this one young girl, she was from Scotland, I think, and the same thing. They put her under hypnosis, and because she would start writing in ancient Scottish, and when they tracked it back, it went back about 400 years. This dialect, and when they finally got her to talk about it a little bit, she says, "This book is in this. If you can find this book, it's in this library, ancient library, or the church. I can't remember." And they found the book that she was talking about. So
wow.
how would she know that, this little young girl,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Research is so important if we want
Yeah.
to write good stories and good books for
Yeah.
people. And
Yeah, I
yeah.
always read that
Yeah.
into my books. You bet.
Yeah.
There's even another case where the English Navy, they were trying to build the wooden sailing ships, but they lost a lot of the knowledge. And this guy said he wasn't previously in the previous life. So they hypnotized this guy and he started telling him about how to build and put all these ships together. And they said, "Wow, we have no record of this knowledge anywhere." But this guy knew it and it came out of his head.
Wow.
That's the kind of stuff so
Yeah.
there's a lot of good things to reincarnation. They say it's locked in the DNA of your genes. If you believe that, then, you can unlock it. Maybe,
Yeah.
and in many cases, as we know in this realm, this is a third dimension. They say there's many as 8 different dimensions out there. So they say this is just one level of your learning to go on to the next one and the next one and the next
Yeah.
one.
Wow.
So
And what really
yeah.
amazing knowledge for you to gather so that
Yes.
you can then weave that into your stories.
Absolutely. I love weaving that, and the other thing I've said many that and lots of research, but the other thing I love weaving in is um I talked to many people and have said you can't write the situations or the experiences that some people have experienced. And I get a lot of ideas when I talk to people at book events. So recently, and I wove this into one of my books, this lady, she was sitting beside me at this one event. She goes, "Well, I don't have a ghost story, but I have a strange story. So tell me." She says, "So I find out on my wedding day I'm adopted. I had no idea."
Oh.
And she's so we were living in Ottawa at the time, and my husband's mother had passed away. So we'd go to on Mother's Day, we'd go down the graveyard, and I let him, talk to this his mom at the gravesite, and I'd wander off, leave him alone. But I for years, and there's this one gravestone that always attracted my attention. I would stand in front of it and think, wow, there's something compelling here. So after I find out I'm adopted, I looked that woman up. That's my mom.
Oh my gosh. I
Yeah,
got shivers. Okay.
I know.
Wow.
And then she says, I find out I have a brother and sister. They look just like me. And they said, yeah, she gave you up for adoption when she was very young because she couldn't afford to have you. And
Wow.
so
Wow.
oh
Never, always your intuition.
oh yeah,
It's
I'm
trying
very
to tell you
intuitive.
something. Trying to
Yeah,
tell you something. We
yeah.
just need to learn to tune in.
Oh
Wow.
yeah.
Yeah, those are
I
that's
pull that off all the time.
yeah.
My a quick story. My wife hates me because she'll be sitting there and I'll go, oh yeah, no, the answer is 18. She go, what? How did you know I was thinking that or something? We were looking just the other day for the special candle snuffer, and we looked everywhere. And I just sat there and I go, it's in Value Village. She goes, they don't have stuff like that in Value Village. I said, it's in there. She goes, okay, well, I trust you. Let's go. We walk in and there's a whole raft of stuff hanging on the wall. About six down, I pick it up. Well, I walk straight up to it, pick it up, and go, here you go. She goes, oh my God, you did it again.
Oh, I love that. And we all have that intuition. We just need
Yeah,
to learn to tune in
yeah,
and trust it.
yes.
And trust it.
That's the big thing.
That's the big thing. Yeah. So you said this a little bit in the very beginning, but
Yep.
a lot of people write to be understood. And that's what I have in the Women Like Me books is a lot of our
Hmm.
writers, or pretty much all of our writers, are writing to be understood about their life story.
Yep.
Now, but you write to be felt.
Yes, I usually write through emotions. My wife says to me, "You're more female inside than male,"
Yeah.
and it's true. Well, most of my characters, in my series are female characters, but if you can get people emotionally involved, and they can feel your scene, or feel your person, feel the agony or the joy. That to me is a great pleasure in hearing that. When I've got somebody hooked in there. When people can sit down, and I just got another review from this other person that says, I've been reading this book for 3 bloody hours, thinking I gotta get up and go to work, and I can't put the damn book down. And I thought, no, that's perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to immerse them, like make it leave their world, even if their world's a good world. But some people are just, they have boring lives, or they just have lives that aren't great. And yet, if I can make them get lost in a book and totally engulf them and give them pleasure that way, like I said, to me, that's like a rock star on the stage going, yeah,
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And I talk to my authors about this is that um why do people pay hundreds and hundreds or even sometimes thousands of dollars to go and see performances? Because
yeah,
it's how they make them feel. So in
yes,
our stories, in our writings, we need to convey those emotions and help our readers, and not always to feel, we don't always want them to feel sad emotions, because then that's not good,
no,
but
no,
some positive emotions, inspirational emotions, and that's what also builds fans.
yes, exactly.
Yeah.
In all my books, everybody asks me, I always say the good person in the end must win somehow, because otherwise it's going to become a very, boring and dark world. And
Yes.
my whole idea of life is to be positive and to make other people enjoy their lives and enhance their lives. That
Yes.
that's always been my goal.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So you've made readers laugh, cry, swear, miss work. Which reaction tells you you've nailed it?
Exactly. Usually the miswork one. So this here's another review I just got. This is on my newest book. I haven't even released this book yet. And this lady said, she said to me, I love your amazing. Oh, this is actually from a science fiction book I wrote. Love your amazing imagination. You take what I see in the History Channel to the next impossibly believable level and make me believe. Sometimes you make me laugh aloud, and other times when I'm reading, I close my eyes and visualize the scene unfolding before me. Your writing flows that effortlessly. And I thought that's exactly what I want to get somebody to
Wow, what
do.
a beautiful
Immerse them and just let them
oh,
go.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I love it when people you know, are kind enough to share their thoughts
Yes.
and their
Oh, yes.
feelings with us. It just helps us to know we're right on track still.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Even
yeah.
even when there was another one where I don't have the review in front of me. This lady wrote Lewis, she says, your scenes with were so disturbing, like it's about a succubus, that I had to put it down because I had nightmares. But she said the problem was I was so compelled. I let it sit for a week. I had to pick it back up because I figured I got to finish this book. And she says, I'm so glad I did because in the end the hero wins. And she says, I was cheering when he beat the bad guy.
Oh,
And I said, that's it.
that's what you want. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's switch a little bit and talk
Okay.
about what you're doing with your books. So you've got
Okay.
a new book that just came out.
Yep. So this is a collection of short stories. I just released this last month. What I'd say the Agatha Christie if I met her at the knitting circle.
Oh, I love your cover.
Yeah. You might recognize the old dude.
Oh, yeah, exactly. That's great. I love that. That's a great cover.
I put
Yeah,
myself on the covers of all three of my short story
yeah.
collections. I have three novels with short stories because, like I
Ah,
said, I've published over 110 short stories so far,
that's
some seven or
amazing.
eight times.
Yeah.
Um, and people, one of the things people always ask me is, well, why Agatha Christie? And I go, well, if you were to ask me that, and I was to ask her a question, so in her life, she was the most famous author at the time. Her husband at the time had an affair with another woman and he wanted to leave her. So she actually, and I think this is brilliant, she actually disappeared for like 2 weeks. They found her car at a site. No, 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 she wasn't there, and she was living in England. So someone tracked her down to a hotel that she was staying in. She was staying under the name of Teresa Neal, I think she was, a pseudonym, which is his lover's name.
Oh my
And she
goodness.
she pleaded that she had, and like she'd lost her memory and blah blah blah. And to the day she died, even when they asked her as she's dying, she said nothing. She said nothing about what happened. She refused. And I think, well, first of all, I think as a writer, that's amazingly brilliant.
Yes, 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 yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, for sure. So what kind of stories are like how many stories would
Oh,
you have in the book?
so all kinds of genres. There's one in here I've already got accepted second place in the Spooky Tales contest since I
Ooh,
put this out, and New Canadian Magazine. And in that magazine, I'm also the only writer that's been published in every single issue so far.
ooh, that's
Yeah.
interesting.
And I think they have 8 issues out. So it's called We're Lovers of the Ethereal. So it's about a lady that's a veterinarian that is at a wild party and goes in the backyard. And this guy's got what he says this wild dog he thinks is a wolf in his backyard chained up. Only when she gets there, she realizes that's no wolf. It's something else.
Oh.
And the rest I ain't saying because you
No,
gotta
don't
read
say. But you had me.
it.
I was like, oh, well, what is it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then some of the stories were from my earlier years too, where I took a series called Context Associated, the Pursuit of Excellence. So you learn about yourself, your personalities, how to improve your life, why I attract to me that which occurs, all these things. So I wrote a couple profound stories about that. What are the other ones? Oh, there's also one in here I have a short story about someone who's got multiple personality disorder. So the government hires this guy as an astronaut to take him to Mars. Because this way, so multiple people have multiple personality disorders. Instead of having 10 people aboard, you can have one. So some of these
Interesting.
people, multiple personalities. So in some cases, when I read in the research, you can have one of your personalities can be a pianist. The other one can be a doctor that operates on people, but the doctor has no idea how to play the piano, and the pianist has no idea how to even
Yes.
hold a scalpel.
So
That's how
interesting.
insane the brain is, how it can operate when it's under distress sometimes.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
so yeah, so
Wow.
that's one of them.
And so so do you have what's your length for short stories? Like when do you feel like
Ooh.
it's kind of gone into over or not enough? Is there like a,
Usually around 2,000 words. Most publications are looking for around a 2,000 word story. There are a few I will get into bigger and longer, 3 or 4,000 when I'm really into it, but I try to do that. And there are a lot of flash fiction now too, which is like 1,000 words or less. Um,
oh,
which I've done a few, but I really, it's hard to kind of get something in there when you only got like 3 pages to write something. I can, but I'd
Yes.
rather be get a little deeper. And then
Yes.
often I've taken a couple of my novels, I've taken my short stories, like when I wrote a lot of them before I started getting into novels, and I would grab one or two and weave them together to make a whole novel. Because in essence, the short story really is only a chapter of a book. That was my always definition I heard a long time ago, and I believe
Yes.
that. So,
Yes.
you can always take a short story and almost always expand it to make a whole book out of it,
Yes.
right?
Yes. And that's what a lot of the writers I have do. I say, get your
Yeah,
story out and then you can
yeah.
expand on it. And I've just actually got one lady who did her own book, and it ended up being a bestseller in 6 categories.
Wow,
Her
there you
name,
go.
I'll just say it, her name is
Yes.
Sydney Mickey, and she's just
Okay.
amazing. It is amazing story. It's a short story, but it's just amazing. But she's got and she's from Prince Rupert, but she's living in
Oh,
Langley, and she's
cool.
got mentions in the newspaper in Prince Rupert, and so she's done very, very well. So absolutely, we can take those short stories and build on them if
Yep.
that's something we want to do.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah, yeah. And so tell me a little bit, because tell us a little bit about how many books you have, what's going
Uh,
on.
I've got 13 novels currently out. My 14th is just being put together right now. I'm getting the cover made. It's already done, written, and edited. Um, as I tell everybody, I write in all the genres except for westerns because I don't like to ride horses. But I
Right.
can do a pretty good Gangnam style dance if you
Yeah.
want.
Yeah.
So,
Yes.
so my newest one, it does take a darker twist as well. It's a female character called Carol Ainsworth, and she has this crazy person that hangs out with her called Agnes Van Lunt, and her stage show she calls herself Mystique because she has a crystal skull with her that she can use to read people's minds with. That
Uh,
drives Carol absolutely bananas. But the premise of this one is, well, what if all the thousands of drug deaths a year aren't drug related?
oh my
So, yeah, so
goodness.
we have a serial killer going after women, making it look like drug deaths. And at first, of course, even the coroners they're so busy these days. And I also one of my people I know is a police officer. She off answers a lot of questions for me if I have a situation. I says, so in the police situation, would this actually happen? She go, no, you can't do that. Okay, got it. So I try to make it also very realistic from the
Yeah.
police aspects as well. And yeah, so
Oh,
so that
that just sounds like a movie to me, Frank.
yeah, well, that's what I'm trying to get. I'm trying to get the whole that's book 3 in this series called Ainsworth Chronicles. I'm trying to get all 3 of them, reaching out to movie companies now and
Yeah.
trying to do a script
Yeah.
to get them in there.
Yeah.
So because they're
Yeah.
very visual and they're all set in here. I was just talking to a guy at that event yesterday, uh, Ian, and he worked in Hollywood for many years. He lived in LA. He just moved here in June. And he said, yes. So I find you're right. Most of the films are done up here because of the cost is a lot better and they're
Yeah.
easy to deal with the public and and everything else. And he said, I'm just floored how many, like even the studios, how many are up here. And that's why he kind of moved up here. And he says, I love being in Canada. And he says, I get healthcare because that's a bonus.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. So what's your favorite book? Do you have a one that just like is your
I
fave?
I actually do. It's called Allure, and that was from the Still Waters Runs Deep series. So it actually wove a short story out of 2 of them into that one. It's about so the Coast Salish have a legend that there's been a witch transformed and trapped in a rock in Stanley Park. So most of the book's set in Stanley Park in Vancouver. Um, the book opens with Vancouver's mayor's dead, wife and child are missing. The female police detective Carol is on stakeout trying to figure out what happened because there's no clues yet. This crazy shaman shows up in the middle of the night and goes, ah, lady, the clues are all there. You got to know what you're looking for. And he virtually vanishes in front of her. But he leaves clues. He knows exactly what he's talking about. So she tries to find this guy, but how do you track down a shaman of all things? Like, really? But it's tied into another urban legend that people say you go out drinking at night, you get good and drunk, and you don't remember crap about the night before. So in a bar right next to Stanley Park, if you get drunk enough, spirits hang out. They take over your body and use it for whatever they want to use it for till you sober up. One's a Hell's Angels type guy that's come back for revenge against his mates. He's inadvertently released that witch, and she's like a succubus. So she's living off of other people's energies, trying to come back fully. And as Charlie tells says to Carol, she's a real badass. That's why I'm here. I'm trying to do something with her. And I also wove,
Wow.
so I wove a short story to that. I also wove a true story that someone told me one time about his experience with Hell's Angels and that kind of stuff. And
Wow.
yeah,
I can see
so
why
I
that's the
always that's why I've
favorite.
said you can't write the stuff that some people have lived and experienced.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. We always sometimes think, oh, well, we should make, think of something in our mind, but
Yeah,
no, you should go out into the world and as you do research and find those stories out
yeah,
that make you go, wow, I would like to write about this.
yes, exactly.
Yeah.
That and that's
Wow.
that's me. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So what made you become a writer?
I think I said this last time, but it
Yeah.
was mainly well, I wrote a couple of short. Actually, I was in grade three. I wrote we had to do some sort of short story. So I wrote about your class. So I wrote this story, and everyone started laughing and enjoying it. And I thought, oh, I really like that.
Yeah.
Then in grade 12, so I did a couple of stories, nothing much. There's a creative writing course, and I thought, this is easy credits. I love writing. Let's try this. So the opening day of the class, the teacher has, so we're teaching you subconscious writing. So the whole goal is to create subconsciously, just to let go and just write. No grammar, no punctuation, just get it out there. So here's your course material. And I always remember opening it up and putting my hand up and go, excuse me, it's just lined paper. There's nothing in here. I go, yeah, your job is to fill it. I go, what? So we had to spend 20 minutes each class writing. And
Oh,
so at first it's like, oh, the walls are still blue. I haven't asked that cute blonde girl out. I'm too shy. Dumb things, right? But then
yeah.
after a while, it kicked in. And sometimes in those 20 minutes, I would crank out anywhere from 2 to 7 pages, just start
Wow.
blasting stuff out. He says, that's what I wanted. That's what you got. He says, you've unleashed this thing. You're just pulling energy from the universe through you, through the
Yeah.
thing. And as you see yourself write, it just keeps going and your mind just
Yeah.
keeps unloading. And he's
Yeah.
right. So now I
Yeah.
can do whole short stories out of pop, you know.
Yeah, I've got a book that we're working on. I've got 12 ladies that are
Yep.
working on this book together. And this one lady's been having a lot of trouble. Just like we started this in December, she still hasn't started yet. And so we've had a few Zooms for me to encourage her.
Yep.
And it's exactly like you say. I got an email from her last night and it said, oh my gosh, I went for a walk and I
Yep.
just sat down and bang, it just hit me and I just started flowing. I can't believe it. Wait till you read what I've written. And I said, that's what we want.
Exactly. And I do a lot of so for writers, when most writers write well in the first hour of the morning when they get up or the last hour before they go to bed because
Yeah,
they're actually coming in and out of alpha state, I found. And the other thing is it's really good, like you just said, go for a walk. I do a lot of hiking, so sometimes I just go hiking and your mind kind of relaxes. And if I'm thinking about a story idea,
yeah,
just put it in there and accept that it'll come out, and it does. When you can kind of relax, like you go for a walk or a hike, all of a
yeah,
sudden, I need a pen. I need a pen now.
yeah, yeah,
Or
yeah,
or if you do it, you can talk into your phone. Some people, I can't
yeah.
really do that. I still write by hand, and then
Yes,
I put it on the
yeah,
computer.
yes, yeah. So I ask you, what do you think about AI these days?
Uh, don't like it. The problem there's a huge lawsuit coming up where all these AI programs are stealing information, obviously from books and articles and everything, and they're being sued for something like $3 billion
Holy
because
smokes.
actually they're stealing my work, right? So or someone else's work. So that's gonna be interesting.
Ah,
However, this is just a start. I think pretty soon you're going to have, and there already are amazing AI programs. One of the guys that works says, "Oh, let's see how good this thing is." And so, tell them about ghost stories of Victoria. In about 5 minutes, he had a 3-page article, all written about a ghost story of Victoria. I'm like, see, that's what I mean. It is super highly intelligent, and it's only getting more. And most contests and most publishing houses will always say, you must sign here that says you did not write this with AI help
yeah,
and because
yeah.
they won't take it.
Yes, yeah, yeah. That's the same, of course, on Amazon if you want to get your book on it. Well, They
Same
just,
thing. Yeah.
yeah, you just have to, I don't know what's going to happen down the road, but you have to certainly acknowledge it. And we've had some covers done with AI programs, Mid-Journey and stuff we've had done
Yep.
for our
Yep.
covers. But you know, I tell the ladies like this is not, these are all your true life stories. You can't have AI write your true life stories.
No. No.
No. So do you use AI for anything? Like some people I know talk about using it for an outline. I had another writer tell me that she uses it for editing. Is there
No.
any use at all that
No.
you find?
I tried
No.
to do AI for making book covers.
Yeah.
I tried a couple of different programs. You know, it was frustrating. I thought, nah.
Yeah.
I actually hire a company out of the Ukraine called MyBlart. They do all my covers because they're very visual and they'll work with you until you're happy. So that means they take a little bit for deposit, but they
Yeah.
you don't pay them until you're done. Some of my
Right.
book covers have taken like 30 goes before I was satisfied.
Yes.
And
Yes.
they just keep going and they don't give up on you.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they're
That would be
amazing.
hard to do with
Yep.
AI
Yeah.
because I think the more you play with it, it starts to go off the wayside.
Yeah, because I keep telling them, like for the cover of this newest book, I wanted to have roses, which is very important to the story, and dandelion fluff. But every time I had roses on a fresh grave, they had a gravestone. I said, no gravestone. I don't want a gravestone. That's not the idea, because this
Yes.
person's been buried to be hidden. And and I said,
Yeah.
I gotta give up. Yeah,
Yeah.
they
Exactly.
you can tell it, but it won't do it. That's what I
Right.
found frustrating.
Yes. Yeah,
It
right.
makes you, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, I think that I think it's a tool, but I think it needs to be you need to be very careful with it because we
Yes.
don't want I mean, I know there's companies out there, they're just like banging out these stupid
hmm
books.
hmm Lots of them are using AI to make whole books out of them.
Yeah.
But then, like I said, I already read about the fact that their AI programs are being sued. And in schools, I have friends that are teachers, they're fellow authors. They can detect if the kids use AI, and I don't
Yeah.
know how you can do that, but they can. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah. Yeah. I think there's certain yeah, there's certain I don't know either how you can detect, but they can for
yeah,
sure do that. So yeah, I just thought I'd get your take on that because it's so big out there.
yeah, and it's going to get bigger, and it's going to become more popular. And the problem with AI and computer programs is they get more and more intelligent. There was actually I think it was Facebook, the guy that runs Facebook. So he made two AI programs that started talking to each other to see how much they can learn from each other and how much they can improve themselves. They pulled a plug when these two programs invented a new language that humans couldn't understand.
Wow.
So basically they started talking to each other with no human involvement. And he thought, no, that's it. I need to pull this. Otherwise, who
Yeah.
knows what they're talking to each other about?
Yeah, goes too far. Goes too
It
far.
goes too far. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah,
That,
absolutely. Well, thank you for that.
you're
So,
welcome.
so so you've got your book coming out. So where can
Yep.
people buy your books from? Where do they
All my
go?
all my books are available on Amazon. There's another one I use, Draft to Digital, which has whole piles of different companies, uh, Kohl's and a bunch of other ones, from all the bookstores. They can be ordered mainly on Amazon, for the most part. Most
Mhm.
of my sales.
Amazon is it's just so convenient. They
Yeah.
can buy it in their and like I just looked the other day to see where my sales were and I'm like, "Oh my goodness, I've sold a book in India. I sold a few
Yeah.
in the US and in
Yeah.
Australia."
Yeah, I've had lots of reviews from people from India because in India the middle class is the biggest middle class in the world, and people don't realize that. And I've had many from reviews from people from India. And you're right, Australia all over the place. And
Yeah.
and and if you're on Amazon Prime, then you get that book delivered to you free anyways.
Yes.
So
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
brilliant.
Yeah, it is brilliant. And it's
Yeah,
and I know the we've done some research here about getting books printed locally and
yeah,
it's just so expensive.
it is.
You
It
just
is.
can't beat Amazon's printing ability.
Yep. And the other company I use, they print as well. They're slightly cheaper, but the thing what I like about Amazon is the back cover is big enough you can actually read it. The other
Yes.
company's back cover, the print is very, very tiny. And even if you have the print inside big enough to read,
Yep.
right?
Yes.
They can do that too, but their back covers are very, very tiny, which is kind of hard to convince somebody.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
Do you use the
so
same standard size book all the time?
yes, usually 6 by 9.
6 by 9. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what we
big
do
enough.
too. That's
And
what we
the other
do
thing
as
with
well.
the other company, Amazon will put color pictures in here if you want color pictures, whereas
Hmm.
the other company doesn't. They're all in black and white, which is
Right.
not very good.
Yeah, no, that's not very good. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Well, for someone who's longing in the world
Yep.
to write and to start storytelling, what would they need to hear from you, Frank?
Well, for me, first of all, just write. So most people write best from their personal experiences. So something unusual happened to you, start writing about that because you can kind of get in the mood of it, the feel of it, the energy. And then as a writer, I always ask this question, what if? And so when you get into a story, either just write one about what something has happened to you, that's great. But then if you want to start getting into something a little more creative, ask yourself, what if? So, give you a perfect example. I stayed at the Empress Hotel in Victoria, and that place has got 5 verified ghosts in it. And so we were waiting for our car, and I said to the front door guy, I says, "So, kind of like I said, I love hearing stories. This is a good one." So I said, "So, any ghost stories? Because there's 5 ghosts in here." He goes, "Yeah, I got a strange one for you. There's a couple like you guys about 5 years ago. We're waiting for the car, and they didn't look very happy." I said, "You guys okay?" He goes, "No, we paid for a week. We stayed one night. We're gone. Last night we walked into our locked hotel room. My wife's luggage had been opened up." Her clothes were taken out and ghost clothes were put in, like Victorian clothing. Yeah, that's the reaction of most people like, what? So
Wow.
so as my in my head as a writer, I know I love that story and I thought, great. In my as a writer, I went, well, what if we have a ghost walking around in modern day clothing? And I wove that into one of my novels.
Wow. So
Yeah.
really, so what I'm getting from you then, Frank, is talk to people,
Yep.
listen to their
Yep.
stories, the
Yep.
ones you find interesting that sort of resonate or hit you,
Yeah.
jot them
Yes.
down, don't
Yep.
forget them, because you can, when you're looking for your next book, your next story, you can go back to that information.
Absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. Always write
Yeah.
stuff down, even if you just have to quickly, handwrite it just to get something in there to jog your memory for the next time. I do that all the time. My wife hates me because sometimes I'm driving to work and I've got a pad beside me, like, oh, I got it, and I'll pull up to the lights and I'm writing away and
You're not on your iPhone, you're on your information pad.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, wow. Well, Frank, I really appreciate you doing this again. You've
Yep.
given some I just you're just such a wealth of knowledge, and for I have over 180 women writers now.
Wow.
Yeah, and a few of them are uh are moving forward with their stories,
Yep.
and a lot of them have just written the one story, but I love this because it's real life. You're in the
Yes.
trenches, you're doing it, you're
Yeah.
self-published, you're selling them on your own, you're going out to all these events, you're talking to people, and as you're
Absolutely.
talking and you're telling me about talking to the doorman, I'm thinking, oh, I could just see me. I'd be like this. Don't talk to me. I just want to get in my car. And now I got to ask that doorman. So you got any good stories that you want to share?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
thanks again,
You're
Frank.
welcome.
And
You're welcome.
everybody, just to let you know, in the show notes, I'll have some links how you can reach out to Frank, or how you
Yep.
where you can go to purchase his book. So all of that information will be there. And again, Frank, thank you so much for
Yep.
doing this. The information is so good.
Thank you. And if everybody has any questions or things on writing to ask, please email me. I'm good with that. I love it because I always believe in giving back the karma to give back to people to help me become a better writer. So I always help. I actually lead a writers group as well. So I love giving back to other people to make them a better writer.
Wow. Can I
So
ask about, because I didn't know you
yeah.
you you have a writing group that you lead.
Yes, so here in Chilliwack, we meet on Sundays at Ricky's Restaurant, usually
Yeah.
between 5 and 7. The next one is actually next weekend, January 18th. If you want to come join us, come join us. On Facebook, if you look up the Lower Mainland Chilliwack Writers Group, that's the group. Ask to join. Then you can see all the posts. Sometimes I put funny things in there, but usually I'll post when the next group is. and we'll often sit down and read each other's work, like for most part,
Yeah.
and help each other. And the other thing is I do is I'll make everybody read the story out loud. Two things. One is that if you read it out loud, you pick up a lot of mistakes that you don't get by reading it in your head. And two, it gives you more confidence so that in the future, when you have to do an event and you have to talk in front of somebody or read something, you're going to feel confident in doing it because you get more comfortable doing it.
Beautiful.
So there you go.
Maybe you could just shoot me that link so that I can share that because I have a lot of writers from Chilliwack.
Okay, okay,
A
good.
lot.
I'll show you that link on Facebook,
Yep.
and then anyone wants to join and come see us, like I said, next weekend is we're meeting already at Ricky's
Yep.
on Luckacut there at between
Yep.
5 and 7. So
Okay.
come join us, and if you just want
Perfect.
to hang out, you don't have to bring anything you want to write. If you just want to hang out, watch what we do, go for it.
Yep.
Whatever.
Perfect. Okay. Well, thank you so
You're so
much,
welcome.
Frank. Yes, thank you. Okay, everybody. Well, that's it for now. And thank you for being here on this episode of Women Like Me Stories in Business. And we'll see you next time. Bye bye.
Bye bye. Take care.